90% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get pumped, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia. AB skinheads with big giant swastikas. Pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in they Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Don moves, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters don't move.
Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down! For those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. Yeah, that's me gassing on that intro song right there. And if you want to get that song, you can purchase it on a 10-song EP that you get directly from me on a digital download link. If you're interested, hit me up on my email, 16tolifemusic@gmail.com, Cashapp, PayPal, or Zelle me $20. I'm going to get it to you ASAP. If you want to check out more of my music, go to my YouTube playlist, scroll down to gas stations, or type in 16 to life gas stations, and you can hear much more of my music there. Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down! So you already know what it is, man. Today I'm going to be doing a reaction to Inside Story with Damian Porter, the big fella, man. So yeah, let's hop right into it.
Welcome to another episode, everyone. The Uso car there in prison crashed out and bust the head open of one of their own, an individual who I always refer to as Big Uso. He was a humongous individual, standing at least 6'6", weighing at least 350 pounds. There in Lancaster State Prison, circa 1995-1996. Big Uso hit the yard. There on the yard already was 4 to 5 Usos. Now, normally the Samoans are not that deep there in prison, but you will hit some yards and you will find some of them there. Most of the time they hang around with the blacks, but they get along with every race. They get along with every car, with every faction. They keep to themselves. They mind their own business, but they take care of business if need be. As Big Uso found out, because Big Uso hit the yard and went into the cell with someone I'll refer to as Little Us. Now, the other Samoans that were on the yard were not as big as Big Uso, yet they were some humongous individuals as well.
Now, the first time I ran across somebody named Big Us actually was in the county jail 1994, man. It was a dude from PJs. And Us, I believe, is in Samoa, it's like brother or whatever. And actually, Big Us and his brother Little Us was in there fighting a case together, man. So that's the first time that I heard those sayings. Now, originally, though, I thought they were saying Big Ooze, like Uzi. So anyway, shout out to Big Ooze and Little Ooze, man, from the PJs.
All of them were big, yet Big Uso was the biggest one. Hell, they were all bigger than me, all of them. Big Uso made me look like a little baby. I didn't even like to stand next to this dude because he made me feel so small. And I'm used to feeling rather big, so I didn't appreciate it. Nevertheless, Big Uso seemed to come in peace. He went into the cell with Lil Us. Now, Lil Us, I really had love for. He and I used to congregate and talk all of the time. We were about the same age. He was a young individual, 19, 20 years old. Hell, I was 22 years old at the time. So he and I got along very well, but I got along with all of the Usos. Big Uso, every time I would see him on the yard, I just say, "What's up? What's up, Big Uso?" And that's just how I refer to him. That's how I remember him, as Big Uso. And he would always return the greeting and was always cordial. So I thought, as did everyone else on the yard, that Big Uso was a stand-up individual, was on the up and up. This is the persona that he put out there. Nevertheless, come to find out, behind closed doors, and you never know what's going on behind closed doors. Well, Big Uso was carrying a few secrets. He was a bully of sorts. Well, Lil Uso began to come to the yard, and the Usos were discovering that something was not right with Lil Us.
This sounds like it's about to get real interesting, man. So hey, I don't know what he's talking about, but we gonna find out.
Asking him, "What's up? You're not the same. You're not communicating the same as you used to. You're not acting the same. What's going on?" And finally, he opened up. Now, this is about a month and a half to 2 months after Big Uso had been on the yard. He had been in the cell with Lil Us for nearly 2 months by the time this came up. And what Lil Us said was that Big Uso was in there somewhat trying to punk him, that he had been eating his food, taking his food, making him clean the cell. Now, Lil Us is not a coward, but he's young and he doesn't know this is the big homie, and he's telling him this is how the structure is supposed to go. "I'm the OG homie. I get the bottom bunk. You clean the cell every day. You cook the food."
Now, I have seen certain situations where, in my opinion, it seemed like dudes couldn't wait to get elevated to that OG status so they could call dogs that they wasn't necessarily earned, or just do certain things like he's talking about here, man. Everybody is not always a schooler or a teacher, and some people do take advantage of the quote unquote OG status.
You buy the food, etc. Basically putting everything on Little Us, saying that the reason was because he was the OG homie. He was Big Uso. Now, this was shocking to the Usos when they received this information. Hell, it was shocking to everyone because, again, the Usos are known for being peaceful people. Everyone that I have encountered has come in the form of humbleness. They don't bother anyone and they get along with everyone. However, you do not want to cross them. Like any good man, they have their limits. And they have a structure and a protocol as well that you will be expected to follow. And when they received such dastardly news, well, they were outraged.
And when they received such dastardly news, well, they were outraged. Y'all know I had to throw that impression in there, man.
Big Uso would be in the cell taking advantage of Little Us. Without hesitation, they confronted Big Uso. They did not wait right there on the yard. And Lil Us was with them. They confronted him all together, 4 or 5 Usos. And they said, "Lil Us, say what you said to us. What's been going on there inside of the cell?" He runs it down, understanding that he has protection right there, that they are there to have his back. And they let him know that, man, speak freely. Nothing's going to happen to you, bro. Say what you just told us.
And that's one of the things that is good about belonging to a car in prison, regardless of whatever car it is. The majority of your car is there to protect you, and you're going to have individuals who speak up for you, who embrace you, who take you under their wing, and they definitely do not want to see people in their car preyed upon. And that's one good thing, like I said, always about California. That stops a lot of the so-called unwanted advances by other men. You know, you're not going to let somebody else prey on a person of your car. And unfortunately, more times than not, in my experience, when someone is getting taken advantage of in any type of way, more often than not is from somebody that's inside his inner circle and at times his celly.
He reiterates it all. He lays it out there on the table and lets them know in front of Big Uso that he feels intimidated inside of this cell, that this dude is pushing his weight around because of his size and his stature within their ranks. Big Uso, well, he did not even deny it. What he did do was try to go around it some and say that he was not deliberately trying to intimidate Little Uso, but he did need to understand that he was the big homie and that what he says goes. Well, the Uso said, well, no, that's not how it goes. Yes, you are the big homie. Yes, you are the OG homie, and we all respect you. But it's a way that you communicate with another man, with another grown man. This is our homie as well. This is our loved one as well. And you in there pushing your weight around. He's saying that you're going inside of his food, this, that, and other, without asking. And it's the way that you're doing it. And again, Big Uso, he takes a breath, takes a minute. He ponders all of this, and he stands strong on his stance, which is that he's the OG homie, and that essentially no one is going to tell him what he can and cannot do. Shocking behavior.
100%, most definitely, man. You know, when I was in prison, I tried to live as brothers, especially with my cellies. And I always, you know, hey, if you don't have anything, man, feel free to, you know, go up here and grab you some beans, grab you some rice, get you some Kool-Aid, so on and so forth. But an individual must be able to put restraints on himself. And not saying that everybody lives like this. And you damn sure can't just be willing to just go on a person's stuff at will and then, you know, and help yourself to their stuff if they have not extended that courtesy to you. So it sounds definitely like, yeah, Big Uso was, you know, throwing his weight around and also taking advantage of the younger Uso, obviously because he knew more, and the young dude was fresh to prison.
Coming from an Uso, and evidenced by the fact that all of the Usos were outraged at his disposition, at his demeanor, at his disdain for the structure, organization, and politics that they have all established there on the yard. Well, what to do? Something had to be done about Big Uso, who clearly showed a lack of respect for the rules and the protocol. The decision was made immediately. In fact, when they walked off from Big Uso, they told Little Uso right then and there on the yard, fear not, don't worry anymore. There's about to be a bloody removal. We're going to take care of the situation. He's out of line and out of pocket. And in fact, apparently, he is even trying to intimidate all of us. For when confronted peacefully with the situation and a chance to express, he doubled down.
Yeah, that's how it is sometimes, man. You know, certain dudes will reach a certain type of elite status, especially if they have a prominent name or a reputation that precedes them, and some individuals will feel they are bigger than the program, and more often than not, a lot of them are brought down or brought back to earth with violence.
And essentially, again, said no one can tell him what to do. He was indeed the big homie there on the yard, and he was the oldest one and the biggest one. And he had a lot of respect there on the yard. Immediately, he had not been on the yard that long, a couple of months. But real recognizes real, or so everyone thought. But when this news is coming out, it's embarrassing for the Usos that among their ranks, they have a bully. Not only that, a bully who wants to bully one of his own. They had to send a message, a clear message, and swiftly they alerted the blacks to the situation just to let it be known we are about to take and remove Big Uso from the yard.
Now that's something that's done often in prison, right? When you have one group getting ready to physically regulate one of their own homies, they'll give a warning or a courtesy to the other groups on the yard, letting them know that, hey man, we getting ready to handle a situation. So if you happen to hear individuals over here doing this or doing that, it's us, and it won't lead to a situation where someone else may mistakenly think that that's one of his homies over there, and he runs over there and it creates a situation. Somewhat like what I spoke on when I mentioned the riot that the blacks and Asians got into in Ironwood. The Southsiders mistakenly looked outside and saw that something was going on the side of the basketball court where they normally play basketball at. Seeing that it was black and brown, they erroneously, yeah, I got that word from Damon Porter, erroneously. They erroneously believed their homies was involved, and something jumped off in the building.
Never to return. I wasn't sure if they were going to stab this individual up or just beat him down. It was going to take all of them to beat him down. I said to myself, they had better have a weapon because this dude is not normal. He's a freak of nature. And they're all they're all freaks of nature. They're all big human beings. Every one of them. Nevertheless, he was the biggest, mean looking, with tattoos everywhere. Their work was going to be cut out for them. And the blacks let them know that. How do y'all plan on attacking this individual? And they said, we got it. They were confident. Fine. They waited. Unlike other situations and other cards, other factions, stories that I've brought you, where someone had to be removed for flouting the rules and or the protocols. But the Usos, they waited 4 to 5 days, nearly a week. I didn't know what was going on.
Well, I believe I know what's going on. So, once they have this meeting, right? Anytime you have a meeting and you are the topic of the meeting, you may tend to be a little on edge, or you may tend to be more observant, just paying more attention, because even though he was big, he was bad, he was the OG, he knows how it is, right? I'm pretty sure he's been around situations and he's seen individuals get knocked off their high horse. So basically, they was letting him feel comfortable, letting him go back to his normal program and trying to catch him when he was slipping so they could put in the most amount of damage.
Thought perhaps they had changed their mind, came to their senses and said, well, let's rethink this. This is a humongous individual. But that wasn't the case. They were taking their time and apparently letting Big Uso feel very comfortable with them, not alerting him to the hazards that lay ahead. They had already told Lil Us, carry on in the cell as if nothing is going on, as if everything is okay. However you've been acting before, continue that. Do not change a thing. We do not want him to become suspicious. But nevertheless, don't fret. We just want him to get comfortable, and then we can attack him. They want to lure him to sleep to give them a better advantage, even though it was 3 or 4 of them. Again, It's going to take all of their might to remove this individual should he decide to fight back. God forbid he has a weapon of his own. Well, there could be hell to pay for all three of the Usos, but they were not going to take that chance because 4 or 5 days later, right there on the yard, they were walking around the track, normal program with Big Uso. They had been doing this every day since the confrontation. So no one is really thinking anything of it. But they had alerted a couple of blacks already that today would be the day that they put down this massive demonstration.
And that's crazy, right? Because one of the first stories that I told was a situation somewhat like this. And it's a trip because it's almost like the whole yard knows what's going on. And they're trying to not look, but they're glancing. Everybody knows that this dude is fit to get a demo, right? Everybody knows but you. And so the anticipation is there because, let's keep it real. More people than not in prison love to see a violent situation, man. And it's a cold thing when you are walking amongst individuals you think are your friends, and they are really getting ready to try to clean your clock.
And without hesitation, as they're walking around the track, well, they attacked Big Uso. All of the Usos got on him, and they were whooping on him. Now, Big Uso was fighting back. He's swinging back. He throwing Hail Marys and haymakers. Patrick Mahomes, he getting in there, and I'm saying to myself, if one of these things connect with any one of these dudes, even though they're big, they're going down. But he wasn't really connecting, and they were connecting on him. They were hitting him. I couldn't tell if they had knives at first because they was just swinging and hitting them with their fists, like, fists balled up. But then I saw one of them indeed did have a knife, and I saw Big Uso begin to bleed. Not only that, one of them ran over there, and this has happened many times before, and picked up the steel sprinkler that's right there on the yards that waters the grass when everyone is locked inside of their cells. These are big, heavy metal sprinklers. And I've seen a few individuals pick these up and go upside someone's head. And Big Uso, though he had been hit, was still standing and swinging. So one of the Usos ran over there, picked up the sprinkler, ran back over there, swung it, and hit Big Uso right upside the head. Bam! And his shit started leaking immediately. And he hit the ground like a sack of potatoes. Hell, he wasn't even moving for a minute. He was moaning, but not moving. I was worried, thinking, hell, his brains may be hanging out over there on the ground because dude clocked him. And he didn't have it. It was over. It was a wrap. He was down and leaking. The nurses, the police, they run over there to get control of the situation. Finally, get down, get down. Everybody on the yard, get down. Everybody looking like, damn, Uso's done over there. He's not moving. He may never move again. But the nurses run over there and they basically trying to revive this individual, Big Uso, whose life is flashing before him, who's rethinking his whole characteristic, wishing he had never tried to bully this individual and had taken heed when they tried to offer it. He began to move slowly, a finger or two, letting everyone know that he was still alive. They put him on a stretcher and rushed him out of there. And they cuffed up the Usos and got them out of there. But a couple of them ended up coming back to the yard. They really couldn't. Only like one of them stabbed him, and one of them went upside his head with the sprinkler. The ones that did that, they didn't come back. But the other ones who was just whooping on him, they ended up coming back to the yard after a few weeks of being in the hole. And that's what happened with Big Uso. He went down like a sack of potatoes for being a bully. Not only being a bully, but trying to bully one of his own. Lil Uso, a strong stand-up individual. And yet you want to bully him, your own people. And when confronted with the situation, given an opportunity to de-escalate, change your ways, you double down. The Usos, they were and are, as far as I'm concerned, a very peaceful people. They don't bother anyone. They wasn't bothering him. But when he went against their structure and their protocol, they did not hesitate, and it got ugly. It reminds me of the old adage, like, never start a fight, but always end it. Never start a fight, but you damn sure better be the one to end it if someone else starts it. Take that with you. Shout out to the Usos, man. They don't play. Stay free, people.
Yeah, that was a cold story right there, man. It reminds me of an incident that I seen one time with the Asians that I haven't spoke on. Maybe I'll give you guys that story, man. But anyway, shout out to the Usos, as he said. You already know what time it is.